You ever woken up in the morning after jiu-jitsu and had your lower back kill you? Felt like you got hit by a train and can barely get out of bed? I've been there. And there's a few key reasons as to why you may be feeling this way. And it's not necessarily your lower back. We're going to run the checklist on BJJ lower back pain. Let's unpack it. Let's get into it now. So there are a few things that contribute to you having lower back pain, and it's not necessarily the back itself. Number one, tight ass glutes. Having the tight glutes, limiting your hip range of motion, can overload the lower back. So tight glutes, for me, this is one of the number one things for people in jiu-jitsu. They're really good at some things, but you ask them to stretch their hips and they really struggle. You seen this before, Joe?
Yeah, for sure. Like you see it a lot with their external rotation of the hips. That like they're super restricted there, and that like the whole like glute region really ties into the lower back. And I find that generally, if you can loosen up the glutes a little bit, the lower back pain or discomfort that was there before just kind of magically disappears.
Yeah, it alleviates. And so, check this. This might be you. You had a great session at jiu-jitsu the night before. You've gone hard. The adrenaline starts to wear off after class. You go to the car. You drive home. You go get out the car and you're like, oh, back's a bit stiff. You think, it's not too bad. You have dinner, you sit down, maybe a bit of TV, play with the kids, whatever's going on. And then just as you're getting into bed, you think, oh, it doesn't feel great. The next morning, getting out of bed, your lower back is aching. For me, one of the first things I do if I ever end up in this situation is I will go to a form of pigeon stretch. So whether it's more of an active pigeon where you're opening up through the hip, or an elevated pigeon, which I actually usually do it on the back of the couch where you elevate the leg. Fuck it, I'm going to do it now.
Wow.
Check this out. This shit's live.
Wow.
You can see it right here, ladies and gentlemen. Leg up on the couch, leaning forward just like this. Elevated pigeon, baby.
Look at that.
This is fucking money for the glutes.
I'm working a pigeon right now on this leg right here. You guys don't even know. I'm 24/7 on this mobility shit.
You never not pigeoning,
push
baby.
that knee. But yeah, no, it's a great one. I find too, just getting on like a lacrosse ball or something hard and just like fucking finding the sore spot in the glutes. It's a super lazy and easy way, especially if you're chilling and you're like in front of the telly.
Yeah.
I'll get on top of a fucking little Lego mountain that my son's built.
Just jam it in there. Yeah, and really what we're talking about here is blood flow. The blood flow is going to help open up the connective tissue as well as get the hip moving, which then alleviates the symptom, which is the lower back pain.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily the root cause. And that's what we're getting into with this information.
Yeah, I think it's important to mention, often what we perceive as lower back pain, we visualize like spinal damage.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh my God. And you know, like it happens to all of us. And you're like, oh my God, my spine is like fucking injured. It's generally not. Like it's generally, that's not the case. It's the soft tissues that are somewhere around it.
Correct. And so number 2 on this one, which is something that we're all aware of, but we just fucking ignore it in jiu-jitsu. Hip flexors.
I don't think we're all aware of it.
Well, okay. So you think about...
The Bulletproof initiated, no?
Sure, but it's definitely become, I think, more prevalent in knowledge within folks that do jiu-jitsu. If you play guard, you get tight hip flexors. Anything that requires you to keep your knees up by your chest, you're tightening up through that front section. Now, some people will argue that tight hip flexors actually result in them being weak. Potentially, right? But that's not what I've found. Most jiu-jitsu folks have got pretty strong abs. They got pretty good through the hip flexors, so they're good at pulling their knees to their chest. But what that means is when you go to stand up straight, your lower back, you're pulled into this kind of lordosis, this kind of anterior pelvic hip tilt, and it overloads the lower back. So even though you may not have done anything too dramatic, because your lower back is overloaded, because your hips are in this flexed position kind of residually, you're getting lower back discomfort, and you've got to be able to open up through those bad boys. So my number one stretch or my number one movement for that is the couch stretch or the kneeling wall stretch, however you frame it.
Yeah.
And for a lot of folks, it is a pretty easy thing to do, but we just don't. And so this is the challenge.
Yeah, it's probably the number one for me that I would do more than any other stretch is just get up against the wall and open up the hip flexors. I actually had it, I'm trying to remember, I had it doing something at the gym yesterday where I came out of it, the set, whatever I was doing, and I could feel my hip flexors kind of cramping.
Okay.
Just on one side. I was doing something seated. I think I was doing some tricep work actually, overhead barbell
Tensing up
extension.
so hard.
Yeah, and then when I was like, oh, I could feel, and it's obviously because my hip flexors were contracted during the movement, and they were probably fatigued, and and so you get this sort of like little cramp, this little kind of neurological kind of thing. But it just made me think like that's kind of what's happening to us all the time on the mats. If you're playing a lot of guard and you're really asking those tissues to shorten for long periods of time.
Yes.
And so it follows that when you walk off the mats and you go for the rest of your life, they're going to be in a shortened position. Like that's going to be their bias.
Yes.
And so that does pull your pelvis into that position, which places extra load on the lower back.
For sure. And so just taking a little bit of time, and we're not talking like, oh, you've got to go take up yoga, or oh, you've got to have some crazy routine. Literally 5 minutes. 5 minutes or less.
Yeah.
Or whether you do it when you get home, after the shower, whatever, or you do it after class, whenever you can do it, spending some time extending your hip, getting your glute to contract and open up through the hip flexors is going to give a ton of relief to the lower back area.
Yeah, this is the idea of like using a bit of a mobility practice to reset your tissues after training.
Yeah.
Just so you're not carrying your fucked up pretzeledness into life.
The rest of life.
You reset it after training and then shit's like ironed out.
Yeah, and this is going to save you the pain the day after jiu-jitsu. Now, number 3 sounds a bit strange, but we're going to talk about lateral flexion. What the fuck is lateral flexion? We're talking about side bending. So even though you might be doing a bit of side bending when you're playing guard or if you're trying to do a throw, it's rare that we spend time there and open up through the obliques and medial glutes and lats and QLs because it's a very vulnerable position. We feel, you start to do it, you're like, oh, that's very uncomfortable. But because we do tighten up through this area, if we don't spend time actually moving the spine through these ranges, when you get forced there by an opponent, someone passing your guard, maybe it's Adam Childs because he's got a crazy fucking crossface and he fucking bends you like a pretzel, that's going to make your back ache. And actually, you have to actually spend a little bit of time going there under your own volition, your own control, so it doesn't break you. And this is the thing.
Yeah, that whole, like, we don't really think much about the side of the body generally, but like you've got, like JT mentioned, the whole side of your torso is full of muscle. And then that goes down into your hips, right? You got a whole bunch of muscle going down to the side of the hips too. And like we use all of that muscle a lot in jiu-jitsu, more so than a lot of other sports, right? It's great for it to be strong, but if it's not pliable, like if you can't move well through there, you're fucking making yourself real rigid and you're exposing yourself to other inefficiencies, right? Where like, oh, my lower back's sore because this shit's not moving properly.
Yeah.
I find that like spending a bit of time lengthening it, be it under load in like a windmill or something, or just stretching it like a side hang cobra.
Yeah, for sure.
Fucking goes like it's so relieving.
Yeah.
And every grappler you do is like, man, like it's like you've just opened up a new facet of life for them.
You want to get better for jiu-jitsu, but you're not sure how. I have the answer for you. The Bulletproof for BJJ app is the perfect mixture of strength, mobility, and recovery all tracked in one place. It lets you know what you need to do, when to do it, and it keeps track of it for you. That way, you get better and stronger sooner so you can roll better on the mats. Now, here is the cool thing. Once you are in the app, you get access to myself, Joey, Raylene, and our other advisors in the group that can help you with your technique, give you feedback, and keep you on track. So if you want to get a piece of this secret technology that's going to help your jiu-jitsu, all you have to do is search Bulletproof in the App Store or the Play Store, and you can get your 14-day free trial right now. You pay nothing. And here's the thing. There's no risk because it is 100% money-back guarantee. You try it. If you don't like it, we'll give you the money back. So do it today. Get amongst it. Download the Bulletproof for BJJ app and we'll see you on the inside. Yeah, and that's the thing about it. Like if we think about like a hurdler stretch, you know, you kind of got one leg straight, one leg bent, and you're kind of leaning over the side. It looks like some 1970s stuff, but that position is fantastic for opening up your hip and also through your obliques, or even just standing next to a pole, holding the pole, and then just leaning to the side and letting yourself just kind of open up through there. It's so simple, but you do it and you get massive relief from this discomfort that we say is our lower back, but maybe is your internal obliques, or it's your QLs, or it's a bunch of stuff which could be, how can we say, your body is compensating to protect you, but it's leaving you in a lot of discomfort. And so you've got to say, hey, buddy, let's chill. We're safe here. We're not dying now. We're not getting cross-faced. We're not getting smashed. We got to relax so we can get the blood flow in there to help the muscles heal.
You know, a nice one for that I don't get to do. Charles Allen Price props it quite a lot.
Okay.
Is the side back extensions.
Oh yeah, like an oblique raise type.
Yeah,
action.
but it's ideal to have that sort
The
of
45-degree.
the inclined one.
Yeah.
Which like at my gym, there's a GHD,
The
and
flat.
it's a little bit hardcore.
Yeah.
You know, like it's kind of maximal.
Bit intense.
Whereas when you got that incline one, because you get that nice stretch at the bottom position, and then the shortening at the top, like, yeah, it's a fucking great way to nourish that range of motion.
Yeah, get the blood flow in there, strengthen it, and stretch it.
Yeah.
Now, number 4 is tight lats. This came up speaking to a friend of the pod. Shout out, Michael Flanagan. How you doing?
Oh, Mike
Up
Flanagan
north.
fucking messaged me just this morning.
Yeah, legend.
Yesterday,
He's a tight lat boy,
Right.
and he's had his own
Working
troubles with the
working
lower
that
back.
farm. He's on the land,
on
you
the
know?
farm
Like
life.
brother.
Yeah, he's an active human. Got kids, doing jits, doing standards. You know, the guy's he's active. But the thing is, your lats originate. Oftentimes we think of the lats as the meat under our armpit. Yeah, like lat spread, big back. But your lats originate down around like L4, L5. Like they're down around the bottom of the pelvis. So typically when we stretch our lats, we think about stretching up here. It's rare that we get a full stretch and go all the way down to that point in the around the lumbar spine. And what I find is when I do get people doing lateral flexion stuff and opening up through the lat and really stretching the lats, whether it be hanging or any other way to stretch the lats, they get relief in the lower back. Now, the lats, I would say, are like some of the most overused muscles in jiu-jitsu because we're always pulling. We're always like, doesn't matter if it's gi or no gi, whether you're tying up, standing up, wrestling, double legs, fucking passing the guard, gripping the gi. Forearms and lats get fucking pumped. And as a result, tight lats can also lead to lower back discomfort. So the simplest thing I like as a lat stretch is actually a supinated grip, hang. Like it's so simple, my
Arms
friends.
facing you.
Because having that external rotation gives like biggest range of motion and stretch through the shoulder and also a bit of decompression. So that's
You get the benefits of the hang.
That's what I like there. Have you got something for the lats, Joe, that you like?
You know, I probably just use like you were describing before, like a side hang using a pole.
Yeah.
I just use that, but I just like sort of explore around the position.
Turn the hips
to
and-
get, and you can target like different sections of the. That's where I need it.
Feel it a bit more.
Yeah.
And look, side hanging cobra is like that's quite advanced, but that's like the absolute oblique lateral stretch. King of all.
Actually just built some side hang cobra into the new standards 2.0 for the beginner
yeah.
for the beginner level.
Oh.
Yeah, I'll tell you more about it.
Yeah.
But you know where else I think probably hits that a little bit would be at the lower portion of the lat would be Jefferson curls. Do you think?
Oh, yeah,
you think you're probably getting into that a little bit?
Jefferson curl is almost like it's like an inverse hang.
Yeah.
Instead of you just hanging your weight straight down, the weight is pulling you forward, and that is definitely pulling through the lats. And you've got that flexion piece through the lumbar spine. So there is that for sure. And now the fifth, the last but the not least, is rotation. And this is where everybody fucks up. We use it in our jiu-jitsu warm-ups. We use it when we're rolling. Like, we do crazy stuff. Flexion, rotation, inversion. We're doing crazy shit with our spine. But here's the mistake we make that leads to lower back pain. When we're not doing jiu-jitsu, we're very stationary. you go to war on the mats and then you sit in the car. Then you sit at the office. Then you sit in traffic. You sit on the couch. You sit. And it's very rare that you see people exploring rotation, not only through the upper back, but through the hips and the lower back. And so side-lying rotation is one of my favorite positions, not only because it helps open up through the shoulder, but having that knee rolled across and having like hips going one way, shoulders going the other way really helps create length through the lumbar area while, sometimes your hips are a bit tighter, the shoulders are a bit tighter, but the spot you feel it is your lower back.
Yeah, it's that, for me, it's like, it's the whole spine. Mid. I usually get the nice little pops in the mid spine.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the Chinese burn of spinal stretching.
You just that little chiropractic.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if what they would have called it in the States, but we used to call it a Chinese burn at school. When you grab someone's arm and you twist in two different directions.
Bully tactics.
This is what's going on with the sideline rotation. That's like that fucking stretch, bro. I showed it to another person at jiu-jitsu the other day.
Yeah.
I was like trying to roll his back out. I was like, bro, give this a try.
Got you. Yeah. And it's just multi-leveled because for everyone, you may be experiencing lower back pain for a variety of reasons. The reason why that side-lying rotation movement is so great is if your restriction is in the upper back, the movement will help unlock that, which will take pressure off the mid and lower back. Or if your tightness is around the hips and the glutes and the legs, being in that position will also help that go to a position that stretches.
Yeah.
So by doing these two things together, it's super high leverage, which will allow your musculature and connective tissues to kind of just get a bit more space, get a bit more blood flow, and nourishment, I think is a very good word you used before, Joe, that will help these muscles repair, help them relax. So when you go to stand up and move, you're like, wow, my back feels healthier. It feels like I can fucking use it for life, which is what we need when we're not being savages on the mat.
Yeah, you gotta look after your shit. We don't think about moving the spine, right?
No.
And you get moved around in jiu-jitsu, but you build up also a lot of tension and you build up a lot of sort of imbalance in a way because sometimes you're just getting fucking like mashed into one particular extreme position for like 10 minutes.
A long time.
So the idea of having some kind of practice that's allowing you to visit all of these ranges of motion with your spine goes such a long way to just having a back that doesn't give you pain.
That is the checklist, folks. The 5 things you need to be doing to keep your lower back happy and healthy. Do them. Thank us later.